Alrighty, good morning, everybody. It is Monday, March 3rd, 2025, the first trading day of the month. We are coming into contract rollover this month, so we do have maybe 2 weeks of trading on this contract before we go ahead and jump over to what are we into? The June 2025 contract, right? So that will be coming up in the next week or two. I do have a lesson here for last week, so I want to go back to Friday and I want to talk about why I alerted you guys to the perspective that there was a good clue that the market was going to try to bounce or push higher soon after the open. So if you guys recall, and we probably don't have to look at the shortest time frame here, we're going to want to jump up to some of the higher time frames here. So maybe I will start with our 60-minute and our 4-hour. So when we came into the open on Friday, for those who were here, you recall I told you that we were in a bearish market for 6 days in a row, right? So for 6 red days, if we go up to the daily, we had 6 red bars in a row. And then you can see here, here's the blue candle for the bounce, or the green candle, if you will, right? So that was Friday. So when we came in on Friday, it kind of looked like that, right? 6 days of red price action. And I told you we actually don't have a whole bunch of strong bullish signals from this low. So when the market opened on Friday, I told you that more than likely, we're going to come back and test that low or maybe make a slightly lower low, print a bullish signal, and then get a bounce from there. But as we came into the open, let's go down to the hourly here. We didn't quite have the signal that would typically be at the low that would lead a bounce or a push. So let's go over to where the market opened here. Just one bar in front of there. So when we came into the open, this is what we saw. We saw this was the low on Friday. So here's the open on Friday to the right. And on the left here, this is the overnight price action before the market opened on Friday. So I told you guys, hey, look, from this major low, I don't have any convincing bullish signals. Now, the caveat to all that is we've had 6 days of red price action. So even though we don't have a strong bullish signal, most likely we're going to get some type of bounce either way. So that's what it looked like on the hourly, right? Nothing convincing for a bullish rotation. And on the 4-hour, same thing. If I scroll this over, and again, you can see there's the low of Friday and the big impulsive move out from that area. But before the market opened, this is what the chart looked like. Right? We had the swing low from the overnight session here, just like we saw on the hourly from this low down here. And from that area, we did not have any clue on the 4-hour for the bulls. Right? We were bouncing out from that low I just mentioned. We were coming into the 9 a.m. hour for our pre-market broadcast, and it still was up here. So you can see the big wick came down over here, but we were still up in this area. We hadn't pulled back. And I didn't have any clear bullish signal on the 4-hour. So I told you guys, if we're going to bounce, most likely they're going to come back. They're going to retest this low, and then we'll get a signal here on the hourly and the 4-hour ideally, and that will lead the bounce, right? I talk about this all the time. When we're coming into a high that doesn't have signals for the bears, typically we have to come up and retest that high, then we get the signal, and then the market pulls back. So as we came in to the open here, you can see that within the first minutes of the open, we got a sell-off to retest the low of the overnight session. And that was exactly what I told you before the market opened. Guys, we're most likely going to come back, retest this low, and at that point, maybe then we'll get the rotational or the bullish signal, the counter signal to the bearish move, and then try to push higher. So that's exactly what happened. If we zoom down to the open here, so here's the open on Friday. There's 9:30. We're still up, kind of up here, like I said. And then we open, And you did have some short opportunities, my friends, on the way down here. As we opened here, we tested the FMA with, I don't know if there was a strong bearish divergence, but you got a nice test off the FMA for the push. And then right here, my friends, that was the big bearish divergence off the back end of the two roadmap levels and the FMA. So we had three levels. We had a big bearish divergence, and the market was pulling back here as we came into the first couple of minutes of the open. So there's an opportunity there, you know, with what, maybe 2 or 3 ticks of risk that got you the nice little sell-off that was happening as we came into the open. But I digress. Anyway, they come down and they test right into the major low of the overnight session, which is the very thing I told you we need to see in order to start to potentially get a signal. So from this low, I believe we never came back from there. From that low, we did have, from the shortest time frame we look at, we had a bullish divergence down here. Okay, it was actually right there. From those two, there's the penultimate low and there's the ultimate low. You have a beautiful bullish divergence. So this is the shortest time frame we have, and bam, there's a signal. Now, I don't really care about the 512 when I'm looking for a large move, but it is nice that even the shortest time frame I looked at had a bullish signal from the very low that became the area for the major bounce going into the end of the day. So let me get my 60-minute back here. And I might as well, since we're on the shortest time frames here, let's go back to the 3-minute as well. I'm pretty sure the 3-minute, when we came down to test into the major low, and I'm sorry, it took 2 tests. I forgot about that. So we had the first test, which was right into the overnight low, and we got the first pop, right? So that was right when I started to get the clue on the signals. So kind of have to eat my words there with the 512, because that was the first test. When we tested it the first time, I'm going to show you my 15-minute from that low. And I think, yes, so from the first low, this is the first test of the overnight low. Big bullish signal here on the 15-minute chart. If I bring up my 30-minute, when we came into that low on Friday, the first low, slightly lower low, big bullish divergence. And as it was happening, I was watching it, and that's what I saw on my chart. That's a very clear bullish divergence on the 15-minute here. Very clear bullish divergence. And then on my 60-minute chart, see if we can pop this up just a little bit here and look at this low. Now, here is this very thing, and let's zoom it in on the 60-minute. So as we pull back into the open, there's the test of the low of the overnight session, and this is what I saw on my hourly chart. Okay, so that's right when I saw that, when we came into this low, and I saw this potential bullish pattern on every time frame I look at, including the 4-hour. If we go up to the 4-hour here and zoom this puppy in, as we came into that low right here and test into the low of the overnight session, what did the 4-hour look like? 4-hour had one of those typical potential bullish signals as well. So when we came into that 10 a.m. hour, after we got this first little bounce around 10 a.m., I put a message into the charts and into our chat, and I told you guys, hey, we just got the very condition I talked about. We got a test of the low. We got a reversal signal on every time frame. And so that was exactly what I wanted to see, to expect a larger bounce. And on the way up, I did warn you guys we had a couple swings that we were going to test into, and obviously our roadmap levels on the way up that could hold the market down. But I did expect from that second swing low, we would get a pop. Now, it took a long time. So let's look at like a 15-minute chart here. When I sent that message out and we got the very scenario I warned everyone about, it started to pop, and then for a couple hours just meandered around, and then we made a slightly lower low, which that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. We got all the clues. They had to come back, most likely, take a bunch of stops out, and then bam, we get the very move that was in the charts before the move ever happened, right? So again, it's not like I'm a prophet here. I'm just putting together the pieces of my strategy or system here that clues me into a reversal. So on Friday, again, by around 10 a.m., I warned you guys, we have all the conditions in the chart for a larger bounce. Sure enough, they get the bounce from that low. We come to a newer high for the day, or for the regular trading hours. Yeah, for the day, I should say. And then they bring it down again to probably throw that wrench in the market, take a bunch of people out who were expecting the long, because I did warn you guys at 10 a.m., 9:30, 10 a.m. in the morning, the long is starting to be a good potential. And from there, we did get, 10, 20, 30, 40 points. And then again, they came right back. They actually came right to, my friends, the major swing down here at 58.46.75. We bounced just in front of it, the low being 58.48 on Friday. So they had to come right into that major swing area, and then there's the push I was expecting around 10 a.m., right? And this is why I tell you guys a lot, when we start to get a clue for a rotation, or the rotation starts to happen, I tell you guys a lot of times, it doesn't have to be a straight line. So we might get a bearish signal from right here in the market, and it makes sense for the market to sell off, but they could take their very merry time here, come right back up into it, and then eventually go in that direction. But it could be choppy before the move happens. That's very common, and this is a very, very, very clear example of that type of situation. Everything lined up for the bulls from the test of the overnight low. We got the beginning of the move. They faked everyone out, still completed the pattern right here on the hourly, on the 4 hour, here's a 15-minute chart. There's the bullish divergence right there from that swing, right? So then we got the push, and if we go up to the higher time frames, and let me see if I can get my 60-minute chart one more time. You can see here's the 4 hour, and there's the signal completing as we come down. So hope I'm not confusing you too much. There's the first swing test of the overnight low. Here's the push to the slightly lower low, right into the major swing there. And then the completion of the signal, there's the 4 hour reversal signal, push to lower lows, push to higher lows on RVI, and then we break the high of the candle for the push. So that, my friends, that pattern right there, and this is kind of a major lesson here for anyone who's looking to work with, these ranges, and why can't I get this to work? There is the very pattern. Push to a slightly lower low, push to a higher low. There's your 4 hour, the hourly. There's the hourly again, pushing into this lower low, completing the bullish divergence, and then getting this big hook in the market for the break, right? So very, very, very good stuff on Friday to learn from that. And then, like I said, if you were actually trading on Friday, it was a bit tricky because they kept kind of moving it back and forth, looking strong, looking bearish, and then bam, they then ripped your face off with that rally right in the last 2 hours of the day on Friday. So in terms of actual trades and stuff in here, I did land a couple. There's some that maybe I wish I would have taken that I didn't take, but I did land a couple in here. So I think maybe Bjorn or someone was here when I started trading in this around 11 a.m. here. Because again, when we started to get the clues for the bulls from here, I don't think I was trading because we just started to do this. And I wanted to see price get through VWAP, obviously, and get up above here to have faith in the direction. And we were getting rejections right around VWAP and Hopal, right? And there were some good actionable trades off Hopal there. So I wasn't trading, and then eventually we did start to break out. I started to get clues we were going to pull back from here, so I jumped in on this short here off the back end of the FMA with a bearish divergence. Got in, got a little lucky with that for the pullback, and then again, it does look like, hey, maybe I just put arrows perfectly on the chart where we got the rotations, but I did short right there. And then as we came into VWAP, after I took the rest of my position off here, I noticed we were getting this bullish divergence, and I went ahead and acted on a long from there and actually nailed it. And then when we were coming into this 200, I actually thought to myself, maybe I should go ahead and try a short from here, because we do know the edge that we get from the 200, and I didn't do it. We did have, you can see there's, as we're pushing into the 200, we've got mega divergence from the last major swing. I mean, very, very much higher on RVI, very much lower on price. The issue is I do kind of wait for a nice little local divergence right in this area. So something like a slightly higher high, and then down here seeing slightly lower high, and then getting that nice clean, why can't I click there? Nice clean, what is going on here? Nice clean bearish divergence, and then act on that short. And I didn't get it, right? You can see they kind of pushed into it again. Not very much through it, maybe 1 point through. And then we got the sell-off from there. So I could have looked like a pretty awesome trader here, nailing the high, nailing the low, and then nailing the high. But that's okay. I still made money on the way down, still made money on the way back up. And then you can see even another beautiful opportunity off the next set of roadmap levels here, with a whole bunch of divergence as we tested into that very roadmap level at 83. So that is it, my friends. There were a lot of really beautiful opportunities here on Friday. Again, I nailed some of the rotations perfectly. Again, just following my strategy. And you did have an opportunity to nail that and nail that and nail that right there off the roadmap level almost to the tick, and even nail the double bottom off VWAP. There were just so many good rotations. I mean, now that I go back into it, it just blows me away. I mean, how many times did we bounce off this one, get below it, come to this one, come back up, pull back to that one, test that one, get through, hold this one, bounce to that one. You know, I mean, there were so many good opportunities, even though the market was chopping and it could have been interpreted as very messy. There were still to the tick rotations right off these roadmap levels. There's a beautiful short off the back end of the 200, limited risk, brought you right to the next roadmap level for the bounce. You know, so there were so many good opportunities. And then when the market really started to rip, you got those pullbacks into the Hopal, pulled back right into this roadmap level at 90, got through this one and pulled back right to 97 here, bounced from there, got through the next one where we got a pullback, bounced from there, came up to the next one, pulled back from there, bounced from here. You can just see over and over again how many perfect opportunities you have in here to get in with no risk and capture a really strong move in the market, right? And then at the end of the day, what do you know? They push all the way up, in the high of the day on Friday was our roadmap level with a bearish divergence where we get the pullback at the end of the day to only bounce right off the roadmap level on the 200 here for a long opportunity at the end of the day to scalp that puppy. And then we finished out here. So unbelievable stuff. We even have our unofficial level here becoming very, very strong for the pullback before the market, I think, closed over here. And then right here became the resistance for the double top at the end of the week. So it just, again, blows me away how accurate and reliable these levels are and the signals that we are using every single day. So that concludes our lesson here. And you can see now as we come into the new week, come into the new month, we are continuing to push in the bullish direction that we did anticipate on Friday and warn all of our traders about. So we'll see how much further this can get. Let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames now and see if they have anything new to add to the picture.